How's it going, sports fans? This is Jack and Ryan with the Talking Jack Sports Podcast. Welcome to season 4. Clap it up. It's been a hot minute, but you know what? We're back and better than ever. And I'm excited because we are nearing the point of peak football.
I was say it's finally back.
We are almost there. This weekend, as of recording, is college football week 1. And the weekend after is the big heavy hitter. It's the NFL season, baby. Let's go. I'm so excited.
They bring in the little knife just to poke that open a little bit, and then bam!
I know, literally. I'm so excited. Hey, not to besmirch week 1 of college football. There's some heavy hitters going on. Like my dogs, we go to
Dogs Clemson game, man.
Dude, you're gonna be there.
I'm gonna be there.
I'm not even gonna be there.
I'm gonna be wearing a bunch of LSU stuff because I have neither, and I'm just gonna pretend to be lost.
You're like,
I'll be like, dude, I thought
what
this was
Vegas.
This? Terrible traffic, weird people. Like
Atlanta is pretty close.
I was just saying,
it's pretty close.
It's East Vegas, honestly.
Yeah. It's
so
pretty
that's
close.
Gonna be the bit I'm gonna be running. Hopefully you see me on the TV because
Dude, if I see you on the jumbotron, it's going on the TikTok.
I was gonna say, dude, it'd be a great segue because then they hit you with and tomorrow we have LSU playing USC. Total bloodbath.
I forgot that's the week 1 game. That's also nasty.
Week 1 in Vegas. They're really showing it up there.
You're making the journey, right? 2 for 1, same weekend.
No, I'm actually making it to that one, but for the bit, I'm only going to the Clemson one, but for the bit, I'm saying I'm going to the Vegas one.
Of course, that's where you really were.
Just so I don't get shot for wearing LSU stuff and
just wear Falcons gear. You can't just wear Falcons gear. You gotta be a prick about it.
Yes, matter of fact, I do honestly, because Clemson's got fake Death Valley and Georgia's SEC. So I have to just be pretentious as hell. This is a golden opportunity just to show how awesome LSU Tigers are. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, we'll see you in your 4 wins or four wins. Okay, I'm not that mean. 4 losses at the end of the season. Sorry, I'm not that mean. I thought you were
gonna say we'll see you in your casket when someone just shoots you.
Maybe it is Atlanta. I wouldn't put it past the city. If you're walking around in purple and gold, I wouldn't put it past the city. But I digress. So today, oh yeah, so great. Nothing bad to say. So today is big record predictions day. The last time you heard from us, it has been a minute. We were talking about draft stuff. We were talking about offseason stuff. But most of the offseason stuff has been resolved. We're still waiting for Brandon Ayuk to stop his temper tantrum, but I don't really see that as being a huge factor in win totals. So we just decided to bite the bullet and tell y'all how it is. Okay? We are not predictors. We are just spoilers. And you got to be excited about what's happening right now because the AFC, per usual, as the last couple of years, is going to be an absolute bloodbath. And that's what we're focusing on today. The AFC and the 16 teams in it. We're going to rank the divisions, and we're going to show you all the playoff picture for how that will shake out.
Indeed.
So I'm pretty
FYI,
excited.
Jamar Chase is still fighting for a contract, right?
Jamar Chase is also throwing a hissy fit right now. He was supposed to be at practice, and then someone was like, he's not at practice. So it's
that's what I figured. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's doing things, but I guarantee you come.
At the end of the day, Jamar Chase is really just being a good teammate because he's made everyone completely forget that T. Higgins requested a trade 2 months ago. So no one's even thinking about that. He's cleared all the drama. He's a fantastic teammate right there. I can't wait to talk about the Bengals. It's gonna be good. Is that where you want to begin? You want to begin with the AFC North?
AFC North. I can do that. Do you want to start with who's in the bottom of the barrel?
We'll go from the bottom up. We'll build up towards the best. All right, so kick it off, buddy. Who's last in the AFC North? I want you to start it off.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. This division was very difficult to get proper things because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of high competitive teams here. But we'll start with dead last with a record of 5-12. I got bad news, but it sucks to be a Brown.
Oh, 5-12.
I think it's. I looked at their schedule, man. It's brutal. It's a brutal schedule, and I have a lot of worry about Deshaun Watson. I have a lot of worry about Nick Chubb. I think that defense should be all right, but it is getting older. I'm not saying like it's so old, but it's just it's a little. Or am I dead wrong about that? I think I might be dead wrong about that.
I think you are not correct.
I was gonna say,
to be totally candid, I don't think that is accurate. But
without being said, that defense should be fine. I'm more worried about the offense, the ability to make plays, the ability to do stuff. Because I hope you can. Because I'm going to draft Nick Chubb in my fantasy league. But I don't think you can just abuse Nick Chubb anymore.
Well, you're certainly not abusing him for the first 4 weeks. He's starting the season off on IR or on the PUP, I think, officially. But yeah.
Like, I just think they have a lot of non-good things going for him, and I'm worried Deshaun Watson's not going to play where he should be.
That's a fair take. Let's spice it up a little bit because that's not who I have at the bottom of the barrel in the division, and it's probably not who you think, okay?
The Bengals?
I have the Bengals as the last team in the division, and here's why, okay? Listen, this is probably a hot take, I would assume, for most. Yeah. But here's why. Oh, I feel it's going to be back in the swing of things. It's been a while since I've gotten a rant about something. Okay.
I'm a little rusty, too.
Dude, we are squeaky clean. No rust at all. I'm ready to go, okay? Here is why the Bengals are going 7-10, okay? Ooh, it's going to be a very similar season to last year, in my opinion. There's a lot of turmoil that people are just not talking about, that are just choosing to ignore about this offseason in Cincinnati, right? You have Joe Burrow, who has just been constantly injured as of late, okay, up until this season. If you called him injury-prone, people would call you probably stupid. But as we've seen with multiple ailments in this past season, I can officially say that the man is injury-prone. And every season you have to take into account the fact he's probably going to miss some time, okay? His top 2 guys that he's thrown to right now are both unhappy with the city. And both, well, I don't know if Jamar Chase officially has requested a trade. I don't think so. But at least one of them has requested a trade officially, and both of them want new deals. So it would not shock me if both of them don't perform up to their standard, okay? Their running back room, gutted. Joe Mixon's gone, okay? He's been a workhorse. Not that he's been my favorite running back in the whole world, okay? A lot of people have him rated higher than I do, but he's gone, and he's a really good player, okay? So who is your rushing room? The offensive line has just kind of always been an issue. Not a whole lot of turnover from this past season. Jonah Williams is gone, but he wasn't like a overly huge contributor. I feel like that's going to be a loss for sure, but I wouldn't really worry about it. I just think the unit as a whole is subpar. And then the defense, people don't talk about this either. I didn't even mention it because I forgot until this moment. Trey Hendrickson doesn't even want to be there. He requested a trade this offseason too, and he's not going to get it, but he doesn't want to be there, right? So many people are unhappy with this situation in Cincinnati. There's injuries, there's losses of players, right? There's contract demands. I just think there's too much turmoil right now to do anything better than 7 wins on the year, and in a tough division especially. So thank you. Rant over.
Yeah. No, honestly, I do agree with that. We'll see here in a little bit. I have a more optimistic spin on it.
Yeah.
But
certainly the range is massive for these Bengals.
I was going to say, the range could either be like up there in the division or dead last.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they're guaranteed. And I'd say for the Browns, it's also just as big as the range. Because
no doubt.
You could have a lot going for it, but a lot not. The only team that I think doesn't have like there's 2 teams that don't have really big ranges, and they're for 2 different reasons.
Right.
But we'll get there in a second. I don't know if you mind, but I'll take
kick it off, buddy.
I'll take who's in third. Who I'm almost positive might be in third for you too. The Steelers at 9-8.
It's the Pittsburgh Steelers at 9-8. They're about as big of a lock as you can get to get that 1 win over 500. Yep.
I was gonna say I don't care who's in that backfield, who's throwing what. They are going to they're gonna get their win. Okay, I don't know how. There's some probably voodoo magic, but they're gonna get a win.
It'll happen. So, whether it means Justin Fields returning kicks or T.J. Watt playing quarterback. They're going to make it work.
They're going to figure it out real quick.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
I don't think there's a whole lot controversial to say about these Steelers, right? This defense is really, really good. They've got a couple pieces that are maybe on the decline with guys like Alex Highsmith and Cam Hayward, but they're still very, very good players. You just picked up a linebacker in Patrick Queen, who I'm sure you know very well as an LSU alum himself. Not you, not yet. You will be.
Hopefully.
And then you've got a secondary that's building for sure. You're getting bigger pieces like Joey Porter that are coming into their own. The offensive line is hopefully getting better, right? You're getting pieces like Troy Fautanu in the first round. You got a guy like Zach Frazier in the later rounds, who I think is a total steal. Najee's not fantastic, but he's a serviceable running back that with a really good offensive line can put up numbers. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much who's behind center, because they're not going to take the Steelers to a Super Bowl, but they're going to get them a winning record in our opinion.
Record. My only concern about how they wouldn't be able to do that is the one and only Arthur Smith.
I really wouldn't put too much stock in Arthur Smith.
I would not.
Arthur Smith likes to run a very rushing forward offense, and you kind of need a stout offensive line for that to happen. So I would say if you're leaning too much on those front five as an offensive coordinator with the one he's working with, I would say that's probably a recipe for a down year. Yeah. But I would say that guys like Broderick Jones at right tackle, a Georgia guy, he'll have an improved season. He's had a rough camp so far, so maybe this is wishful thinking. But I see Broderick Jones being better. I see guys like Troy Fautanu sliding in immediately as a fantastic pick. Zach Frazier immediately as a rookie being a contributor. Yep. Isaac Seumalo at guard being great, even though I think he's hurt right now, so hopefully he comes back. But anyways, I digress. 9-8 for the Steelers. That's pretty consensus across the board.
I would say that's a pretty standard. Like I said, the only person that could ruin that is probably Arthur Smith. But
yeah, right.
Honestly, Arthur Smith's not even that bad of like just an offensive coordinator. He's just a bad head coach.
Yeah.
He's just incompetent at head coach. That's all I'm gonna say at that.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Moving into that third spot, or I guess second spot in the division, I have the Bengals.
Okay.
So I guess I'll say why. Honestly, you kind of sold me on your rant, so I feel like I don't want to do this anymore.
No, because my rant was just that it was in the situation in which all of these negative factors just prevent the team that we've seen before mesh, and they fall apart. But in this scenario, for sure, I can see it happening.
I mean, like I said, I think we both agree that their ceiling and floor are very far apart.
Yeah, no doubt.
But like, I think Joe, if he stays healthy, will be able to maintain that offense to it like a pretty damn high caliber offense. I don't think they'll lose Jamar Chase. They might lose Higgins, but honestly at this point I don't even think so, because
no, they'll all stick around, I think, but
they'll stick
no
around.
One's super happy about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And I mean, honestly, some people might just say, oh yeah, we'll take it and just half-ass play or something like that. But I do think most of the time when people are on that contract year, they play a little bit better because they want that beefy contract.
Yeah.
So I think their offense is still going to be high caliber if those guys still play at that performing. Did they get David Montgomery as a running back, or am I thinking of a totally different guy?
I don't know who you're thinking of. You're thinking of Zach Moss, maybe. I think he's in Cincinnati. Chase Brown, I think, is their number one currently.
But, I can't. Yeah. I mean, to your point,
David Montgomery has stood pat in Detroit. Just to clarify,
I'm assuming he still stayed in Detroit. There was a different felt. That was a terrible pull on my part. But like I said, the rust, man, it's still a little rusty.
No worries at all, fella.
But yeah, to your point, that defense and that line and the running back situation is very concerning, to say. At the being lenient there, very concerning. But I do think if Burrow manages to stay healthy and those three weapons that they have stay healthy, they'll probably be fine. I have them specifically going 11-6. They have like a little bit of an easier schedule for some things, but they still have, they still have to play the Ravens and they still have to play the Steelers. So they lose a little bit for that, but they should be able to do something there.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I've got probably a shock to you right now. Second in the division is the Baltimore Ravens. I have them going 10-7. Okay. So you know what's coming up in a second, but let's hold our horses first. I'll say my piece on the Ravens. I think they're still going to be a very good team, but my number one main concern for them right now is the offensive line. You're plugging in a ton of younger guys with very little experience, like especially at right tackle with Roger Rosengarten in particular, who I think is going to be a weak spot. You've got Lamar Jackson coming off another MVP season. There's a ton of pressure on him. You just lost your defensive coordinator and some key defensive pieces, most namely Patrick Queen, who I think in division is especially rough. I don't think that he is maybe as integral as of a contributor as some would maybe think, because you've got Roquan Smith also in the inside there, an absolutely elite presence who is taking a lot of the pressure off of Queen. But I digress. Yeah, in general, I think the defense will regress without Mike McDonald. I think the offense will regress without as big of a presence on the line. And I think everything else has pretty much stayed stagnant, right? So I don't see a whole lot of improvement for this team. I see a couple wins less. What did they have last year? Were they 13, 12 wins last year? I don't recall. But
I think 12.
Yeah, that's the number for me. And
don't
I would
quote
say,
me, but...
no, you're good. I'm right there in that neighborhood. And I would say they pretty much just get a couple wins worse. It's not too big of a deal for me. I think they'll still be a big contender. The one thing that I will say they did objectively improve on is they did sign Derrick Henry, but I would say that comes with the caveat of getting used to a new system, a new offensive line, a new quarterback with tendencies that he hasn't really played with. I guess he played with Mariota, but I'm not going to try and compare the two.
No.
So, and he might be immortal. The king might be immortal, but he is getting up there. He's got a lot of tread on his tires, and I'm not going to tell you that he's going to have a drastic fall off, but I don't think that he's the same guy he was a season or two ago. With all that being said, I still think that they're a good team. They get double-digit wins. Do we hear the emergency vehicle outside my window?
It's always fun. You might hear a Hellcat or two behind me, but
oh, of course, they're both yours.
No, they're not. I can't afford one, but they're on that street. It's a big, popular racing street.
Okay, I got you. Soon enough.
Exactly.
That Talking Jack sports money gonna get you there.
I was gonna say, when am I getting paid again?
I owe you a coming on Thursday, buddy. So sorry.
There you go. No, but since you said the Ravens at number 2, I already said my number 2, so I guess I'll just kind of piggyback off your reason.
Yeah, tell me why you got the Ravens winning the division.
I mean, besides them having Lamar, who just won an MVP, and I do get that they lost, Patrick Queen, which is a pretty heavy loss. They still have Smith. They still have pretty good corners and safeties. Unless someone just left my mind.
They lost Geno Stone in the secondary once again in division, but I wouldn't call that like a monumental loss. He's really good and underrated for sure, but other than that, you're not wrong.
But they still got Kyle Hamilton, who's only getting better.
He's first team All Pro, no doubt.
Exactly, and I do think that. Henry in that system is going to work a lot better than people are concerned about, because they did run like a dual back system with Gus and Dobbins or something.
There you go.
I believe. There we go.
Or whoever replaced him because he couldn't stay healthy. But
that too, I was gonna say. But they were able to get some pretty good ground game with those two, who I would say held nothing to the king.
That's probably true. Which is why I did agree with you. It's an objective upgrade, no doubt.
It's a very big upgrade, very luxurious, I'm just also imagining Derrick Henry throwing the ball to Lamar Jackson for a 2-yard little pass.
I didn't even think about Derrick Henry, the best quarterback of running backs.
Yeah, best quarterback of running backs.
Derrick Henry is the Patrick Mahomes of Samaj P. Ryans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. No, but I do think they have a lot of good spots, and I think their rookie guy, Zay Flowers, is going to get a little better. I forget if they drafted another receiver, but I don't think so. I do think their receiving core is close enough. If Mark Andrews...
They lost Odell, I guess. And I guess Mark Andrews will be healthy for the second half of the year, but I wouldn't really put too much stock into him.
I wouldn't do that, but they have Andrews, they have Flowers. If neither of them are there, you give the ball to Henry, or you just have Lamar run it. It's a pretty simple brain system.
Yeah.
To put it simply.
That's why I'm a little cautious, because I think maybe it could be a bit one-dimensional, but with Lamar, nothing's one-dimensional, so I'm not too worried.
At the bare minimum, you're getting 2.
Yeah, I agree there. So
explain why the Browns are...
Yeah, so I have the Cleveland Browns winning the division, which is probably a shock to many. I'm a big Browns supporter this year because, yes, they do have one boogeyman, and he plays quarterback for them. Deshaun Watson is, at this point, confirmed to be a bum. He's not good at football. But the one statistic that I will point to is, as a starting quarterback last year, which did include a couple of left what am I trying to say? His a couple of his starts were cut short, right?
Yeah.
From injury. So his backups had to do some of the work for him. But as a starter, I believe he had like a 5-1 record, something close to that. He had a convincing winning record. He was playing, maybe not winning football, but his football was winning games. See what I'm saying here? Because he's surrounded by probably the best supporting cast in the league that no one talks about, right?
The O-line, baby.
The O-line is fantastic, as it's been every year, right? You got Joe Bitonio, you got Wyatt Teller, you've got Jack Conklin, you've got just insane pieces that no one talks about at all. Nick Chubb not being there and being hurt for the first 4 games and potentially coming back not the same player is my number one concern outside of the quarterback room, of course. But I wouldn't put too much stock in him coming back a different guy. I think he's done this once before at Georgia, an objectively worse injury, and he came back as the best running back in football for a year there, right? So I would assume that he's going to come back swinging. They still got Amari Cooper, who is still, I think, only 29 years old. Can you believe that? I think at oldest he's like 30, which is insane. It feels like he's been in the league forever, and he's still putting up numbers. Okay, you've got David Njoku at tight end, one of the best in the game that once again kind of flies under the radar there. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you have the most underrated defense in football. You have the reigning defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, along with crazy edge presence, right? Guys like Agbo Ankarakwa weren't even healthy for the second half of last year.
Some of the best like depth at that line.
Yeah, exactly. They've got some crazy depth. Linebacker core headed by JOK, right? Jeremiah Usukorma, and the best secondary in football, in my opinion. You've got a 3-headed monster at corner. You've got Denzel Ward. You got Martin Emerson, and then help me out. There's a third name that I'm blanking on right now. I can't be blanking on this. Check this out. I totally know it off the top of my head, guys. I totally know it off the dome, guys. I know all of them.
While he's critically thinking, you also got Judy, who I'm not gonna say is a huge presence, but he's
they also have Jerry Judy. He's just kind of there.
He's there. It's a name.
He's just kind of there. They signed Devin Bush, who could be like low key decent. Probably not that.
That too.
Greg Newsome found it.
There you go.
He's really good. You've got guys like Juan Thornhill. You've got help me out, Grant Delpit. No one talks about Grant Delpit, okay? He is like a sneaky candidate for like first team All-Pro this year at safety. He's really, really good. And I believe he was an LSU Tiger.
Delpit?
Yeah, I believe he was an LSU Tiger.
No, let's check.
He was.
Was he really? Damn.
He was. He was very good. He won whatever the award is for best safety of the year.
Oh damn.
So I know that happened. I forgot if it was with LSU, but regardless, if they can have Deshaun Watson play moderately okay, decent, potentially fine football, this is going to be a good team. I only have them going 10-7 because of the limitations they have under center. But here's the dream scenario. He sucks. Jameis Winston comes in and revives his career Baker Mayfield style, huh? That would be sick. That'd be so cool. And maybe that's wishful thinking, but I really like this entire Browns roster outside of quarterback. So I will give them a pass and say that they win 10 games and win the division.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns, I feel like me and you kind of have the same opinion on the Browns, but for you, it's the Bengals. Like, there's just a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And it's like we're just figuring out which ones are going to stay like solid and which ones are just going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I think that the Browns do have a lot of moving parts there. At least I'm not worried about the defense. I'm worried about the offense.
Yeah.
And I mean, one big cog of that is Mr. Shoulder hurts. I'm just gonna say that.
That'll do.
Enough said. But yeah,
I
feel like those two teams definitely have huge highs and huge lows.
So I'm excited to see where they end up because I'm a big Browns believer, as y'all found out just now. All right, Ryan, take us to maybe I am a closeted Browns fan. Take us to the next division.
All right. So, you got North. I always do East. So we're going to start with the AFC East, baby. Coming in dead last, a surprise to everybody.
I'm sure it will be.
The New England Patriots.
What? Crazy take. How do you not have them going 17-0, Ryan? Please tell us.
Yes, just literally everything. They have Drake May. That's cool.
Yeah, he is pretty cool.
They have Drake May. Like, that's the only pro that I actually have to this team.
That's pretty real, honestly.
They lost their elite level coach, so I don't even trust their defense as much as I previously did. I'm assuming it should be fine, but that they have a hard schedule too. I look at that schedule and it's rough.
There's not a lot of wins on that schedule.
I saw 3. I saw 3 like Sherlock wins.
Okay.
So obviously that means they're going 3-14 on my list. I think Drake May will have a good year, but there is not a cast around him. He is sinking. Okay, he's just there.
That is the truth, Ryan. I have the Patriots last in the division as well, going 5-11-1. I predict one tie every year, and the Patriots have claimed it. And you will see the other recipient in this video.
I'm calling the shot. Oh, it's in this video?
It's in here. It's not. It will not be in the NFC, so you will hear about it today.
Titans. It's going to be the Titans.
Potentially, but we'll see. Could be.
I mean, I don't even know what else to say about them. They're legit.
There's not a whole lot of analysis that you can do. Their offensive line is terrible. Might be the worst in football. Their defense depleted. Judon's gone. He's pretty much their exactly. He is their shining light. You've got a couple of young guys on that side of the ball. You've got a Christian Barmore, right? But he's hurt right now already. Yep. So there's not anything to work with, really. You have Antonio Gibson from Washington, who I can personally say is not a factor you want to be the exciting one.
I was going to say, he's a something.
I just think this team has absolutely nothing to work with outside of the quarterback position, and that's a good thing to get right, and I think they did. I really like Drake May. I liked what he did in the preseason. He had a bit of a troubled start, but who wouldn't under that terrible line?
I was going to say.
Right?
I don't know about you, but I definitely take preseason with heavy salt.
Exactly. I don't really put too much stock in it, but one thing that I will is his final preseason game, 4 for 6, really strong scoring touchdown drive. I don't know. I just think he'll be perfect in the New England system. I think the system that Gerard Mayo is trying to run, a successor to Bill Belichick, a similar mold, but with more modernity. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's a modern twist on a formula that's shown that it works. So I think Drake May. What I'm trying to say is I think Drake May is going to be the GOAT. Okay, he's going to be Tom Brady.
The only thing I'm saying that I'm low key worried about is you're kind of putting him in the same situation of Trevor Lawrence. Just an absolute dumpster fire his first year.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He could follow that path too.
I hope not. I hope they don't ruin him because I like Drake May a lot.
In the summer, my stock for Trevor Lawrence has definitely went down a lot, which makes me sad.
Interesting.
But
mine has kind of had an interesting roller coaster. We'll talk about him in a minute.
It's a little dip, but it's not I still think he's good. He's just dipped a little bit for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, with that being said, I think this is still a highly competitive division, which for number 3, I have the Dolphins going 10-7.
Wow, okay.
I think, I don't have to really say a whole lot about the offense. It kind of shows why it is probably the most efficient offense in the league. They have Tyreek Hill. They have Jalen Waddle. They have Tua turn the ball over, who hasn't been doing that as much.
Big stepper.
A big stepper. I could be wrong, but I'm a little concerned about the O-line because I'm trying to think of someone, but I think there's a little bit.
It's a fair assessment. There's a lot of injury risk in there. Yeah.
I like their running backs. I mean, Achane should still be doing Achane things. The defense, I'm also a little worried about, but they still have some new good guys. They have some old guys who are still there, as far as I know. Big fan of Chop Robinson. So
okay, yeah.
We'll see where that goes. But yeah, I think 10-7 is a pretty, I think that's kind of where they're best at.
Sure, that's fair. I'll jump in here. I also have the Dolphins third in the division, but I have them with a losing record. I have them going 8-9, and there's not a whole lot of basis for this. It's just because someone had to have this record in the division. I do think the Dolphins are definitely a talented roster. Obviously, you have skill position guys out the ass, right? You've got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle as the best 1-2 in the league, in my opinion, and it pretty much all just rides on Tua. Can he be more than what he's shown? Which I don't think the answer is yes. I think that we've seen what he is, and that's pretty much his ceiling. So I think the running back room, Raheem Mostert's poised for regression, but I think Achane's poised to jump into the upper echelon of guys as what we've seen in his limited time this past season. He was a darling in the eyes of many. So this defense is also kind of a question mark to me. You're changing schemes, you're changing coordinators, but you've still got big names, right? You got Bradley Chubb coming off injury. You got Jalen Phillips coming off injury. You've got Chop Robinson, rookie. You've got Jalen Ramsey getting old. And kind of coming off injury. You don't have Xavier Howard anymore. So maybe there is a lot to be concerned about this defense, right? That not a whole lot of people are talking about. You have Christian Wilkins, just kidding. He's gone. So exactly. So there's a lot to be concerned about, I think, with this defense. People kind of overlook it because there's a lot of big names, a lot of first rounders spent on this package. But as a whole, I'm not sure that they're all going to mesh at the level that you want them to. I don't think they're all going to stay on the field as long as you want them to. So I think this is a lot of question marks happening on that side of the ball. And right now, I'll be conservative with their record and say that they barely missed the win column, right? The right side of 500, right?
Just out of curiosity, do you hear that fire truck going absolutely ham behind me?
No.
Okay, cool.
I was trying to listen.
Fantastic.
I did not.
Everyone's okay, but he do his way on his horn for a solid minute and a half.
I didn't hear it at all.
He's still
probably
going.
because
he's
my
still going,
insane yap sesh was drowning out all other
bro
noise.
Got lost.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, I think Dolphins at 3 is a pretty solid spot. I like I said, I think they'll do a little bit better just because the McDaniels constantly evolving offense is going to somehow still win games.
I'm sure they will still win games for sure. I just don't have a lot of faith in this defense. You know what I mean? But
yeah, definitely. But coming in number 2, I wonder if we have the same one here. I have the Bills.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really have to say a whole lot about the Bills. They have Josh Allen. That's all you really need, honestly. Just an elite level quarterback. Their O-line's fine. The running back, I actually have no idea who it is at the moment.
James Cook?
Cook, there we go.
Bro.
I was gonna say, no, hold on.
Georgia Bulldog legend James Cook? Come on.
He's not a legend from Georgia. He's just a good
He was really good. I don't need you to say that, bro. I don't need that negativity right now.
Fine. But,
don't be dissing my dog.
But fine. He's got him, I have a lot of questions about that receiving core, but Keon Coleman was a guy I really liked coming out of college, so I'm not too worried. Now, the defense is also a little concerning, but I think somehow they're going to manage to keep it together. Even though Josh Allen's going to throw 3 interceptions, they're going to somehow hold it together to also get a 10-7 spot. So they're tied basically.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because I do have the Bills going 10-7. Also, I just have another team going 10-7. So I have both the Bills and Jets tying for tops in the division, but I have the Bills getting tiebreaker for division record. So coming in second in the division for me is the New York Jets. And the Jets are a team that I've become slowly more and more of a fan of this offseason as it's gone on because of the biggest glaring issue from this past year, other than the quarterback, obviously, but that wasn't intentional. It's the offensive line. And it has gotten so drastically overhauled this offseason, and I feel like no one's really giving it the attention it deserves, right?
Exactly.
You've brought back Morgan Moses as someone that I'm familiar with, right? He started off his career getting looks in Washington, and people were kind of falling out of favor with him. They're like, trade Morgan Moses. We let him go in the offseason, and shocker, the offensive line collapses the next season. It's like, wow, you don't know what you had. Grass isn't always greener, blah, 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 right? He's already played in the system. He knows what it's like with the Jets organization. You bring him back. He's sure to slot in perfectly into that line. You bring in Tyron Smith, okay, from the Cowboys. Yeah, he's getting older, but he's still a fantastic left tackle, okay? No one is talking about his presence there with the Jets. I feel like it's a complete perfect fit, an absolute steal. Yeah, people forgot about him. I feel like it's insane that no one's talking about him. And then you just drafted Olu Fashanu in the first round to anchor inside and then potentially split outside as his career goes. But I think he'll be a fantastic guard. I think he'll be a fantastic depth piece.
Yep.
And with guys like Elijah Vera Tucker already there, this line is poised to be one of the best in football, just like that. So with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, the biggest question mark on the team, obviously, I'm projecting him to have a comeback that's been, a solid comeback older Aaron Rodgers, not throwing too many tough balls, right? You're not racking up interceptions, but you're also not really racking up yards and touchdowns like Aaron Rodgers, because he is almost in his 40s.
If not in his 40s. Isn't going to pull the, aggressive, MVP level caliber, but he's going to just take a little step back and kind of think like Brady on the Bucs.
Yeah.
I feel like that level. I mean, it's still obviously like good quarterback play, but it's not like single-handedly carrying that team to a playoff.
I think that's a fair assessment. And then to pair with the offensive line, I cannot stop ranting about Breece Hall. The man is so good. He's so good. Oh my God, he's so good. But just like Aaron Rodgers, he's got to stay on the field. Okay, buddy. All right. Our audio listeners are not getting an explanation as to what's just happening. Dude, Breece Hall is one of my guys, okay? He's so underrated, okay? And I cannot wait to see what he does with an actual quarterback, right? And like a receiving game that warrants attention from defenses and one of the best offensive lines in football. He's going to be so good. So I'm excited to see that. And then, of course, the defense is going to be great per usual. I think Hassan Reddick's situation is kind of wishy-washy. Losing Bryce Huff and getting Hassan Reddick to not play for you is definitely an L, but you've got enough depth at the edge rusher position to where you can kind of, supplement that a little bit. Hopefully Will McDonald can come in. Hopefully Jermaine Johnson can come in and both be starters. That's the hope. But other than that, I think the defense is looking very, very good. You got Quentin Williams in the middle. You've got Sauce Gardner in the secondary. What more could you ask for, right?
Exactly.
So that's why I've got them going 10-7. But it seems like you're even higher on them than I am. So take it away.
Not by a lot. I have them going 11-6, but
okay.
I will say that once again, the AFC, a lot of high competitive. That's just what it is at this point. It's insanely competitive. So you're going to lose those difficult games, And honestly, personally, I'm just looking at my list. It's very divided for some because those two divisions that we just went over, I think are stronger divisions. I think the South and the West are a little bit weaker. So,
yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say.
But yeah, I mean, you basically said everything I wanted to say about it. Aaron Rodgers, probably going to do fine. Breece Hall, really good running back. Good receiving core. Great O-line.
Oh, I didn't even mention the receiving core. Excuse me. Yeah, please take it away with that.
Great receiving core. I mean, depth. They actually have depth, which was nice.
I don't know if they have a ton of depth, but you've got Garrett Wilson. So
but you have Garrett Wilson. Hopefully, I think they still have. I mean, don't they still have Randall Cobb?
No, he retired, but you still got Allen Lazard. You just picked up Mike Williams in the offseason, so hopefully he can stay healthy. You just drafted Malachi Corley in the third round. I thought he was pretty underrated, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's enough there for Aaron Rodgers to do something. Basically, if the dudes have hands, Aaron Rodgers will be fine. However, it would be really funny that when they play the I
know exactly what you're about to say.
When they play the Niners, and can you refresh me on who shredded?
That would be Leonard Floyd, Ryan, who does so happen to be a San Francisco 49er as of this season.
Yep.
And they just happen to be playing week 1.
Week 1. So I'm a little concerned just for that one game. But after that one game, they're 11-6.
Leonard Floyd has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. And I'm not rooting for it to happen, but if it did, I would laugh.
I would laugh, but I'd also just be like, damn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you can already do.
I would laugh. Okay, and then I'll touch on the Bills real fast because I do have them winning the division by tiebreaker, which I don't think is a super popular pick right now. People have a lot of Dolphins stock, I feel like, which is funny that neither of us have them going as high as the general public.
Neither of us are very high on Tua.
Yeah, that's pretty much why. Both of us are Tua truthers. We know what he is, and it's not a winner, right?
Yeah.
So
he played for Bama. He's not a winner.
Yeah, that's the truth. We both get it. But I'll touch on the Bills real fast. You pretty much hit the nail on the head. They got Josh Allen, and that's why I'm putting so much stock into them. I also think that the guys they do have at receiver are a little bit more underrated. I've always been a Khalil Shakir guy. Since his rookie year, I've seen highlight-level plays from him when he gets playing time. So I'm excited to see what he can do with a more fleshed-out role. Curtis Samuel, should he stay healthy, has had some nice seasons in Washington, doing some cool dual-threat stuff out of the backfield and work in the middle. So he's been more of a reliable guy. Keon Coleman, I don't really have too strong of opinions on him as opposed to some others. I thought that he was kind of underwhelming in his Florida State time, honestly. I thought that system was kind of bad for him. But if you go look at his Michigan State tape before he transferred, I think that's more telling as to what kind of a player he is. And I think he'll fit well with the Bills.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Everything okay out there? No response. I hope they're alive.
I was saying, we'll see him in like 40 minutes or something.
Yeah, you'll get the update next episode. Probably not. And then James Cook in the backfield. They're relying more heavily on the rushing game, which is the correct choice. You saw the offense second half of last season in Buffalo. It was a lot better. Yep. Obviously, you lose Stephon Diggs. Sucks to suck. Obviously, you lose so much talent on the defense, right? I have the depth chart pulled up because honestly, I couldn't even think of half the dudes that are going to be starting. Damar Hamlin is literally set to start at free safety. Did you know that? I didn't know that. That's crazy, right? Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are both gone. They're both gone. Okay. AJ Epinesa is set to start at edge. Oh my God, they lost so much depth in the defense, but I don't really care, to be honest, because you're playing shootouts. And I think Josh Allen is going to have a crazy hero ball year where he goes statistically crazy on every aspect. He's going to have hella interceptions too, but
that part's going to suck. But like,
honestly, he's going to go statistically bananas.
If I need a quarterback who needs to go band for an entire offense, there's like 3 guys that I can think of, and 2 of them is Josh Allen. So
yeah, that's real. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Josh Allen carries the Bills to 10 wins and wins the division. Okay, so you want to run south or west?
We go south.
We'll take it to the south and tell me who you've got bringing up the rear.
So I think this is a big shocker to everyone, but I have the Titans being last in the division.
Is that a shock?
No, not at all. No, that was supposed to be a shock.
The way you said that, I was like, I mean, some people have Titan stock, but I was like, I don't know.
There was supposed to be sarcasm, but like, I'm just
low-key, the Titans they have potential to be okay, but
the ceiling's there, but the floor is a lot more gruesome looking.
Right, I'll let you vent about Banana Mayo Man. Take it away.
Banana Mayo Man. I'm not even. That's his name now. Banana Mayo Man.
Yeah, as he's known on the show. Friend of the show, Will Levis. Not really.
Friend of the show. Just keep saying it until someone's like,
we'll get him on the show eventually.
Friends. Exactly. Friend of the show, Banana Man, Mayo Man, whatever the hell you want to call him. I don't have a whole lot of stock in him. I think he will do fine, but I do think like last year in his debuts, okay, he did play some less good teams, and I think in this conference and in this division, there are a lot more competitive teams than there was last year. And I'm also looking at the obviously king-size shape in their
offense.
that's true. Gone now. Like straight up, like I think he was over like half of your offense schemed. So the fact that he's just gone, it kind of makes me feel like y'all are destined to be like middle of the pack, best case scenario. And I have y'all going 5-12.
I think that's a fair reasoning.
I have the Titans going 5-12.
You're talking directly to the organization.
Yeah, directly to them.
Because they're listening.
The owner.
Will Levis right now is fuming in front of his iPhone 16, just absolutely losing. Yeah, just gnawing on his unpeeled banana, dipping it in his mayo coffee, just fucking fuming right now. But
I was to say, bro's pissed, but apologize.
Yeah. So I'll talk about the Titans for just a sec. You kind of nailed all the negatives that I wanted to touch on. I've got them going 6-12, but I'll play devil's advocate here. Hang on. Oh, that's why I had one less. That's right, 5-12. Thank you. Okay, I added up my wins and losses just to make sure that the league was going 500, and I had one more win than loss, which is not mathematically possible. So I was
totally didn't double check that. I did it based off of schedule.
I did it because I'm like a loser. But yeah, I did it last year. I picked every individual matchup, and that took 12 years. So full transparency, I didn't do that this year. But
I was saying,
I'm no Adam Rank. Okay, I didn't
500,
do that.
but if I'm not,
yeah, no, you're good. I'm just like a nerd. So, but that's why that makes a lot more sense. I have them going 5-12. But yeah, I'll play devil's advocate here for a second and say that the Titans are one of the most improved teams of the entire offseason. Okay. You did lose Derrick Henry, but Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears, I think, can do a decent amount of work to fill that gap. You picked up Calvin Ridley in the offseason. Okay. Big contract for a guy that maybe didn't deserve as much money, but he's still a difference maker in the wide receiver core. On defense, you picked up some big names. L'Jarius Sneed, among the best of them. I think that he is a huge pickup for a very lacking secondary. But on the whole, this is the same Tennessee Titans. You're bringing in a very inexperienced coordinator to be your head coach that has some wishy-washy roles in his offenses, right? Yeah. Brian Callahan, son of Bill Callahan, who's also on board. He's got a history with good offenses, right, in Cincinnati, with Peyton Manning in Denver. But he's also got some history with some interesting offenses, like with the Broncos after Peyton Manning. So we'll see how it goes. I think he's an interesting mentor for a guy like Will Levis, who definitely has a nuts ceiling, as we saw in his debut, but also a pretty discouraging floor, as we saw in the rest of his time starting in Tennessee. So all that to say, I do have them also at 5-12, but I'm prepared to eat shit if they go get 9 wins, right? So, take it away.
I would say coming in the third, you might have the same person here, but I have the Jags going in third. Is that the case?
I actually don't.
Okay, in that case,
but yeah, let us know why.
I have them going 9-8, but they could also be like an 8-9. You know, they're really on that straddle for 500, in my opinion. It can literally go either way. I do think, you know, I still have T-Law stock. I think their defense is not terrible. I'm a little concerned about the rest of the offense, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
But I do think Trevor Lawrence is still a guy who can play at a high level with a fair bit of help. And I can't remember, but they got somebody. Did they for the receiver help or no?
They got Gabe Davis from Buffalo.
Okay.
So and then they drafted your dog, Brian Thomas.
And then Brian Thomas was the other guy I was going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brian Thomas is very good. He's a very physical, big player, which I think will fit a lot pretty well with T-Law.
Mm-hmm.
Just with that big. I don't want to describe the physique of this dude, but this dude's just big. Okay. Like, you can tell he's faster than Malik Neighbors, and I just think he's really good. He was underrated at LSU, but honestly, it's hard to compare when you have Malik Neighbors on your team. So
yeah, fair.
But I think he's definitely very good, and I think that will help T-Law at least get a little bit more offense. Now, that O-line has some questions.
The O-line is a little suspect, for sure. I think that's fair to say. Right? Are you? I know you had more to say.
I honestly was just be like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I'll talk about them in a second, but I'll say my piece on the Indianapolis Colts, who my stock on them has fallen significantly in the last couple of weeks after really analyzing their preseason footage with the full starting unit, and I think that I was a big Anthony Richardson believer. Still am. I still think that he's going to be very good. It's just going to take him a bit. And I don't think this is the year. Seeing his offensive line, it's one of the worst units in the league. It looks terrible. Outside of Quentin Nelson, who's like significantly regressed somehow. Still good, but like he's not the guy we think he is at this point, I think.
Regretting from being like the best player isn't a huge regress, but it's huge for him.
Yeah, it's big for him because he's like the only bright spot on this line. It's pretty terrible. You've got some very suspect receiving options with Michael Pittman, who is like their wide receiver 1, but I think that he would be a really, really nice wide receiver 2, supplanted by a really, really nice wide receiver 1. I think he's kind of in that weird dead zone right there. I like him. I don't love him.
Drake London.
Low key, yeah. That's a really good comparison.
I think Drake London's a little better, but that's just because of the contested catch stuff. But
that's probably true, and you can rant about Drake London next time. I will let you have all the time you want.
Full hour on the Falcons.
Full hour Drake London pod, but until then, I'll keep talking about the Colts, I guess. They're kind of lame. But you're bringing Adonai Mitchell, who I think is like in my process, he was like my 5th-ish receiver in that class. I was a big, big fan of Adonai Mitchell. But I don't know if he's going to get the target share that I think many think he will. Josh Downs, I thought, was a big candidate for breakout at receiver. He had a really nice rookie year. But I think he's currently hampered by some injury stuff, so hopefully he comes back okay. Overall, it's just weird vibes. It's like weird vibes. Something. Say again?
Don't they have a receiver like Pierce something?
Alex Pierce, yeah. He's also there, kind of just contributing, hanging out.
I was going to say, He's like a decent red zone guy as far as I
Yeah.
remember.
They're starting tight end Jelani Woods, speaking of the red zone, already on IR.
Oh,
so, other than Jonathan Taylor.
Jelani Woods lover, honestly.
Oh, same. I was a big Jelani Woods guy. He was a red zone monster.
I was going to say, massive individual, too.
Yeah. That dude was so insane red zone. Virginia legend.
I was going to say, shout
out Jelani Woods. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But other than Jonathan Taylor, that offense is looking pretty sparse in terms of big playmakers. And I'm worried about a lot of people have a bunch of Jonathan Taylor stock this year, but without that line, I don't know if he's really going to be the guy. So we'll see how that goes. But the defense, I think, is going to be pretty solid, right? You've got guys coming in like Laiatu Latu, who they drafted at, I think it was 15, first defensive player off the board.
Yeah, could have been a Falcon. But,
could have. You got guys that are still there like DeForest Buckner, Zaire Williams in the linebacker, decent secondary pieces overall. But it's like this team, I had a bunch of stock in as like a 6th to 5th seed. But it's definitely fallen after further analysis of their offensive line. So, but I will say that they come in at 8-9, just barely missing a winning season. But I think that you have them a little higher than I.
Just a little bit. You said 8-9. Mm-hmm. I got them sneaking 2 more wins out.
Okay, so you got them going double digits. Tell me why.
Yeah, they'll just barely hit that double digits. I might, maybe I'm wrong, but I might be a bigger Anthony Richardson fan than you are. Maybe just a little bit.
I think that he's going to be really good. I just think he needs some more time and a better offensive line.
I mean, my question is, can they not abuse the hell out of him to the point where he's injured by week 3?
Yeah, that's also the concern. He needs to stay on the field.
Because, I mean, he's a big dude. He's built to be like that, very big, bulky, tanky, can play and run type build. Mm-hmm. It's just a little scary because, anytime there's that big, tanky build, whenever they get a pretty bad injury, they regress significantly. I mean, Cam with his shoulder, or I think it was shoulder or elbow or something, after that hit that TJ Watt delivered on him, he was not the same after that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Or there's a few other examples, but that was the main one that was just ringing in my head. Mm-hmm. But I do think their receiving core is a very weird and almost like uncomfortable. Like you're like, it's not.
That's a good bad word to use. I'm like a little uncomfy. Yeah.
Like you're like, it's not bad, but there's also like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah.
Like even their best guy, Pittman, you're just like, he's fine, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously they do have Taylor, who's good, and I think even with that depleted line like they have, he'll be maybe not like top tier, but he'll still be like he'll put up solid yards. But yeah, I do think they'll end up being 10-7, mainly off of a Richardson boost and that defense hopefully staying strong with Latu being in some reinforcements and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. That's pretty much where I had them. And then I kind of looked into it a little further, and I was like, some of these pieces I'm not really into. But obviously, I've still got them sneaking 8 wins, so they're going to be a good team. Definitely a tough physical one to watch out for, no doubt. But I don't have them making the playoffs. Jacksonville actually has 10 wins in this division, and I kind of flipped my Colts and Jaguar stock this offseason. I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence guy, but after some tape, I've seen that a lot of the negatives in that offense weren't necessarily fully his fault. I would say that the receiving additions that he's gotten this offseason will definitely fill the void of Calvin Ridley and more. I like more and more of Brian Thomas the more I see it. I think Gabe Davis is a sneaky threat to take the top off of defenses. I think Christian Kirk is super, super underrated as I wouldn't say a breakout candidate because I think we kind of know what he is, but he's like a pop-off candidate for like a sneaky good year. Yeah. Travis Etienne in the backfield, obviously a really good piece. Just got to stay healthy. He's had some consistent injury concerns, taking out games here and there every season he's been in the league. And that defense is like a little suspect, right? You have some holes here and there in the secondary on the defensive line. But overall, I think things gel together to where the Jaguars, under Trevor Lawrence, taking some more steps forward, realistic steps this time, because I had him as like an MVP candidate this year. Last year, I should say. But this year, I kind of have more realistic expectations for him, which is that he takes a couple positive steps forward and elevates this roster to a playoff contender.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think a lot of people were super sold that it was going to be the big year for them last year, but I'm like, hold on, they did just get rid of their coach like a year prior, and it's just like, you know,
mm-hmm.
I wasn't investing a whole lot in them, but I was like, they'll probably do fine. They still somehow I think disappointed me there a little bit, but because I still think they were going to be a winning record or like a pretty.
Dude, they lost their last 4 or something games to drop out of the playoffs. Yeah, they lost to the Titans in division to miss the playoffs. And a win-in game, they didn't do it. So
exactly. So that was obviously disappointing, but and because of that, I'm kind of like they'll still take steps in the right direction, but I don't think it will be very big. With that being said, you want to just roll into number one?
Roll into number one. The Houston Texans, to no one's surprise, take the division. I've got them nabbing 11 wins. I'm not. Oh shoot! Yeah. My fault. Little sneaky pull there. Just kidding. The Titans are actually first. Got your ass. Nah. I think the Texans are only going to get 11 wins, and I say only because people have like 13, 14 win expectations for this team, and if you are one of them, I see why. But I do have some concerns with this team, Stephon Diggs being one of them. I think that he might not be as positive as a addition as many may think, but the more and more I look at this roster, the more and more I just see so much talent. Obviously, C.J. Stroud is in danger of a sophomore slump. I don't want to be the predictor of, he had a great rookie season. Sucks to see that he's going to be terrible this year. That's not what I'm saying. But, I'd be more conservative about the MVP hype that he's getting than some others.
The slumps are real and the pressure's high.
Definitely. The receiving core is one of the best in football. Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, and Nico Collins is one of the best, if not the best trio in football. You bring in Joe Mixon, solid running back. And then in the secondary, you've got some crazy breakout candidates like, Daniil Hunter you just brought in. Did you just wink at me?
I thought you were going to say Stingley, and I was going to be like, yo, that's LSU.
I faked you out. That's who I was about to say, though. I was about to say Derek Stingley. I think he is going to absolutely break out as a first-team All-Pro type guy. Yep. Former LSU Tiger, of course. I'm a big Stingley believer, so him especially I wanted to touch on. I'm sure you'll mention him as well, but yeah, that's kind of my analysis. I would just be weary about some of these expectations that you're putting on this team. They still have a pretty tough schedule.
Direct the wink still works because Daniil Hunter's also an LSU alum.
Really? I didn't know he went to LSU.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, it still works, man. It still works. He is.
I didn't know that. Hey, my fault.
But yeah, I have them going 13-4. I'm a little worried about the Diggs problem because we all see the clip of him already looking like he's frustrated at CJ. Yeah. I'm not going to take that as frustration, just like him trying to be like a coach guy who, I mean, I guess you can say that's fine because he's obviously older than CJ by like a fair bit. Dude's like 30 or something and he's only 23 or 24 or something like that. So I'm going to say like maybe. He didn't really look super frustrated. He just looks like he likes talking with his hands,
Yeah, I just think he's going to have some pretty severe regression this season.
I do too.
Yeah, but hey, we can't forget about Bobby Trees. Robert Woods is like the 7th receiver on this roster, and he's the Pro Bowl comeback.
Pro Bowl, I was to say he's actually going to win MVP. That was my guy.
That's the MVP pick.
No, but like I do think there's just so much to talk about the Texans that's like I don't have a lot of negatives about them other than like, oh, CJ Stroud could literally explode on the field. Like,
true.
You're just assuming
that's true.
You'd just be assuming like they're just doing bad. And it's like there's not really a valid argument for why they would do bad.
Which is why I don't think they will. I just think that they're probably maybe not going to be as good as something. They're still more of a younger roster with a younger quarterback who's going to be prone to some weird games he's going to lose. So I would just temper expectations for regular season record, but they'll still be a crazy contender in the playoffs. But yeah, what'd you have their record as?
I have them at 13-4, but I kind of want to bump that down to your point. I think that's a little high of expectation, but I do think that
maybe
they'll
just
be rolling.
A touch, but it would not shock me if they reach that total.
I was going to say, I'm also just looking at the other teams they play. I mean, they play the Colts, Jags, and Titans twice. I feel like they're not sweeping all of those, obviously, but you could definitely sweep at least one of them, maybe even two, depending on just how it is. And I mean, that's where obviously like half their wins come from.
I just think this division is a little tougher than people think. I think the Titans are a sneaky upset team. Like every week, they're not going to be a great record, but every week people are going to be like, "Oh, I don't know, Jim. It could be the Titans, right?" So it's like,
is this the dagger? Type
literally. So you never know. But until we see it, that's how we got it stacking up in the AFC South. So let's wrap up with the AFC North. Just kidding.
West.
Pranked you. AFC West.
There we go, West.
Gotcha.
So honestly, this one could be very difficult for me.
This division is, where do we have 3 teams stacking up before the Chiefs win the division? That's what it is.
Do you want to just get the Chiefs out of the way? Because
we can talk about the Chiefs first. Okay. I have them going 12-5 and winning the division. I think that this is going to be a really monumental year for like football history, because this is the first opportunity a team has had to three-peat in a Super Bowl since I don't even know when the last back-to-back was. Was it like the 90s with the Cowboys? I think, right? I think it was the 90s Cowboys.
With the Vikings, but like they lost all of those, so that doesn't really count.
That's not. I don't think that counts because they kind of have to win.
I would say it would have had to have been. That's the Pats did, but I don't think the Pats did either. So it honestly probably was with them boys.
I think it literally is the 90s Cowboys are the last team to have a chance to three-peat, and I don't think it's ever happened in the history of football.
That part I know.
So this is a big monumental year for them, and I think guys like Mahomes, who are record chasers, they're not like stat chasers.
They're wanting a legacy.
He is aware that he has the best shot at the GOAT debate that anyone has ever had in this sport at this stage in their career.
Yeah.
When you look at what Tom Brady is doing now, and you look at a guy's stats at the age of 28, no one has better numbers than him. No one, and I will stand on that hill.
If he does a three-peat, it's literally going to be Michael versus LeBron. That's that Michael is now Mahomes because he did the back-to-back-to-back thing.
It could be.
I mean, we're whether you like it or not, we're watching greatness happen right in front of our eyes.
That's kind of what I'm saying. People call me like a bandwagoner because I root for the Chiefs. I'm not rooting for the Chiefs. I'm rooting for greatness. I want Brady to be dethroned because I think Brady is the GOAT, as we all know. I'm not trying to make this a who's the GOAT video, but it's the most boring GOAT in sports, right? You can't argue with 7 rings, but good God, is it so boring to have a guy like him be the best ever at football.
I'll say, like a relatively unathletic dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know we're obviously the IQ part, no one's saying he's bad, but like he's just a boring fella, honestly.
Yeah, I want the GOAT to be exciting. I wish it could have been Aaron Rodgers. I wish he got more Super Bowls, and that's what Mahomes has the chance to do. So I think that he's really going to chase that record. I think there's a lot of spotlights pointed at this team. Obviously, you have the Travis Kelce stuff, but you have other spotlights like search helicopter spotlights for all the felons on this roster.
I was gonna say they starting to look like them Georgia Bulldogs over there, man.
Hey, whoa. We'll stick with DUIs, thanks, and reckless driving charges.
Okay.
Rasheed Rice actually got into car crashes, and like Isaiah Buggs actually committed every crime under the sun.
That's true.
They're an interesting roster full of guys that are going to contribute. Good wide receiver core compared to last year for sure. They got the same running backs, pretty much running back the same defense. You just give up L'Jarius Sneed, which I think is a loss, but not as big one as maybe some will think.
I would say they still kept a lot of their defensive spots apart from him.
Exactly. So I've got 12-5. What do you have?
So I think I actually dyslexic it. Did I say that the Texans were going to be 14-3?
You said 13-4.
Okay. In that case, then I did not mess up. I just doubted myself. It's been a long day.
You're good.
14-3 is what I got the Chiefs. I do think that they're just going to be rolling. I think obviously that might be a little high, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be the best in the AFC.
Right.
They're rolling.
It's boring, but they're going to be the best until proven otherwise.
I was going to say, like, to your point, Mahomes is actually entertaining to watch compared to Brady, and
that's why I watch him.
I have a heavy bias towards Brady for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So we won't bring that up, but I would really love to see him no longer at the face of NFL legends.
I still remember that tweet, dog. 15 minutes away. Anyways.
That's when you put up the 1,000-yard stare.
Literally, yeah.
Little picture. Because that's anytime I think of him, that's always in the back of my mind. It's
my fault, gang. It's touchy. That's my bad.
Yeah, 14-3. Good receivers, good defense. Yeah. Obviously, quarterback. Good elite level coach. We all know this.
Yeah.
This isn't surprising anybody. But what is not surprising, honestly, in my opinion as well, is who you have dead last. I have the Raiders.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Now the Raiders are also in that weird spot where they low key could actually do something. Like I was looking at it, I'm like, dude, they could easily do something here. I just don't have a lot of faith. I lack the faith.
I'm gonna make you upset in a second.
I was gonna say maybe I'm wrong. You're about to be like, yo, they just signed like some random dude, and I'm like,
they did just sign Tom Brady as of recording this video. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Like,
Joe Montana just came out of retirement at age 74 to play for the Raiders. I actually don't know how old he is. How old is Joe Montana?
Joe Montana, he's probably in his 60s or 70s. While you look that up,
68. Okay.
They lost the running back. I think Adams is very unhappy with where he's at, and honestly might do one of those mid-season type trades. Mm-hmm. I don't think they would go to do that, but don't get me wrong. I love Minshew. I love him. Okay, absolute goated. But then it's like, okay, on that back end, the defense, you have Wilkins, you have Crosby, who could do something. But unless I'm being stupid here, I can't name another guy on that defense that's like as big as a game, like is another like star-worthy player. Unless I'm dead wrong, but I can't remember one.
No, you're not really wrong, but I'll get to it in a second. Bringing up the rear in this division, I have the Los Angeles Chargers, actually.
Wow.
Which is kind of insane to say because ahead of them, that means two very question mark or mid quarterbacks have gotten a better record than Justin Herbert. Which is this is going to be a very interesting year for Justin Herbert if the record goes how I think it will. I have them going 5-11-1. That is the tie. I think that the Patriots tie the Chargers, which is like the most Chargers thing ever, right?
I was gonna say, honestly, I'm surprised that you're saying that they're going to be the lowest because you were that when we were doing the QB thing, man. You were in love with Herbert.
Oh no, I think Justin Herbert's a great quarterback.
I think he's good too.
Here's the deal, guys. He has nothing to work with at all, ever.
That is
nothing.
True.
Nothing, not even a little bit. They drafted Ladd McConkey. That's it. Well, they drafted Joe Alt, but that's not a skill position. You know what I mean, right?
Different debate.
What offensive line is not a skill position. That's like there's like a definition.
Man, it only takes more skill to be an offensive lineman.
Okay, they're an extra skill position.
They're all skilled positions, okay? That's what we're fighting for. They're all skilled positions.
All positions matter, 2024.
lineman.
That's our campaign. That's our campaign.
No, but like to your point, there is really not a lot going to them. The only thing that I have them banking on is Harbaugh being able to do something.
Harbaugh, I think, is an interesting
factor. Probably cheat his way into some wins, but
yeah, he'll probably get in the scorebook and be like, "No, we actually did score here." So see, look, this is what happened.
So yeah, totally. But yeah, honestly, what did you say their record was?
I said they were going 5-11-1.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, my whole deal with the Chargers essentially is that they have no skill position players that are worth a damn. Ladd McConkey is going to end up being their wide receiver one, and then behind him they have a whole lot of nothing. In the backfield, they basically just Control-C, Control-V the Ravens backfield because they signed both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, both of whom have struggled with injuries in the past. The latter especially. When healthy, they'll be good.
I like both of them. But
I'm betting on J.K. being hurt, which is sad.
I was going to say.
But
I'll put a band on that, basically.
I would, if I had to bet on $500 on him being hurt or healthy this year, I'm taking the former.
I was going to say, I'm taking the under there and saying that he's hurt.
Right. And then you've got an offensive line that's like improving, Joe Alt's really good. I'm a massive Joe Alt supporter, and then Rashawn Slater if he stays healthy. But like other than that, it's like it's a work in progress, and I think the defense is pretty bad. Right outside of Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, who are both on the decline. Who do you have? Derwin James when he's healthy, Asante Samuel Jr. I guess.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, Derwin's the only other one that I'd say is really eye-popping there.
Yeah, you still don't really have linebackers. You still don't really have, an edge presence outside of those two big names. Who you got on the other side? I just think there's so much to be done still with this Chargers rebuild that I can't have them more than 5 wins. I think Jay Herbo is going to be real frustrated, and so will his fans.
Bro might hit him with I'm leaving. Knowing him, though, he probably wouldn't. But I'm all I'm saying is loyalty doesn't exist in the NFL no more.
That's the truth, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think I said what the Raiders were going to be, but I have them at 2-15. I think they're like pretty dumpster fire-ish.
Whoa, 2 wins?
Yeah, two wins, man. They play all those teams. I think honestly, all those teams are a little bit better than them. I do have them beating the Chargers once though, just for shiggles.
Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna go crazy in a second
here. Yeah,
it's gonna be real awkward. Do you have the Broncos third?
Yeah, do you have the Broncos third?
I do. So we can talk about the Broncos for just a second. I have them going 7-10, which is probably a little bit better than I initially thought I'd have them. But after seeing some Broncos stuff, I think Sean Payton's finally got a hold of this team. I think he's finally got a handle on how he wants to run things. And
terribly.
Well, okay. I think that there's some merit to what he does. I think Bo Nix is going to be a lot better than people thought, for sure. He's a very surgical, very game manager, but very capable of making bigger plays when asked. I don't think he has a ton to throw to. Well, that's a lie. He has Cortland Sutton, who is one of the most underrated receivers in football.
Underappreciated, definitely. Yeah.
But other than him, he doesn't have a whole lot to work with in the receiving room, in the running back room. Javonte Williams is pretty subpar. The offensive line is like, okay, you've got some decent talent on there for sure.
Of the pack, I was gonna say.
And then in the defense, you've got some okay talent in there, right? Pat Surtain brings up one of the best corners in football, but other than him, there's not a whole lot of big names on that unit. So I would say that it's going to be a good coaching season for Sean Payton. I do believe in some of the things that he does, which is elevate a defense, elevate an offensive line, and I think we'll elevate
bounties on players.
Kind of, yeah. There's going to be Bounty Gate Part 2. That's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting Bounty Gate Part 2, and that causes at least 3 extra wins.
I was going to say, I will say I am fully biased against Sean Payton.
I know you hate it.
He's a good coach, but he's also a very big villain, because now ever since Bounty Game came out, I'm like, well, did this guy actually get hurt because of just randomness, or was he intentionally hurt when playing the Saints? Mm-hmm. But we don't really care about that. I think he's a fine coach, and I do think that they'll get 6 wins out of it, so around where you are, plus or minus a game.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Before you talk about the Raiders, I'll just
tell me why you like the Chargers.
I don't like them. Honestly, I think this division, apart from the Chiefs, are bad. I have them going 7-10.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, no, it's very, very not a whole lot going for them. I just think Harbaugh and is it John Harbaugh? Before I mess up, it's John, right? No, it's Jim. Man, they're twins. Give me some.
Buddy.
They both start with J. Okay, I can't. It's been a long.
That's embarrassing. It's Jim.
It's Jim.
It's Jim.
Okay, I've kind of figured. Mm-hmm. I figured as soon as I said John, I'm like, it's definitely not John.
You were right.
But Jim Harbaugh, I think he's a fine coach with running game, and I think they'll probably basically try to throw Michigan's playbook as much as possible. But I think they might be able to get 7 wins out of that, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like I've touched on a lot of the issues with the roster already. But
I was just saying, they have Herbert.
I didn't think this is how we were going to end with me ranting about the Raiders, though.
But yeah, go rant about the Raiders. Tell me why.
Here's why I like the Raiders, okay? I'm going to blow your mind right now. I think the Raiders get a winning record. I think they go 9-8, barely missing the playoffs. They have a better record than teams like the Colts and Dolphins. I am crazy, but this is my boldest take of the year with the team, and they don't even make the playoffs. I think the Raiders are weird. They have a lot of weird happening because I like them for weird reasons. They have a really solid offensive line that people don't really talk about. Colton Miller is one of the better tackles in the league that no one really brings up. I think Gardner Minshew is better than people think. I think he or Aiden O'Connell really could lead this offense to winning football. I think at the second half of the year with Antonio Pierce under the at the helm, I should say, they had a winning record. They went, I think it was 5-4, which, by my record projections, that projects to be around the 9-8 record. They had a top 5 defense in football in that second half of the year. They were top 3 in sacks. I think Max Crosby's fantastic. I think Christian Wilkins is fantastic. I think some guys in the secondary people don't really talk about. Nate Hobbs is really good. He's a candidate for a big breakout. And then, you have Devontae Adams to throw the ball to. You got Jacoby Myers in that offense. You've got Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers, right? So I kind of have to give the Raiders a 9-8 record.
I do think it will be very interesting on how they use Brock Bowers.
I think he's going to be the X factor, right? I think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to be the X factor. It's Brock Bowers. It's Zamir White in the backfield, who I think is underrated and has the potential to be like a decent bell cow. I don't know. I just think that things are going to line up for the Raiders.
I was gonna say you need a lot to line up, though. You're
it's a bold prediction for sure, but that's my one real big reach for this season.
It's not crazy because 9-8, I feel like is very doable for most teams, even if they are bad teams. Like it's like you can get like a 9 or you can get a mid record. You just need a little bit of luck and.
I'm putting a lot of stock this year into good rosters as opposed to good quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
That's not like a terrible thing. I still just think like I don't know, having your like from experience, having your tight end being like your best guy on the field, apart from like okay, fine, Adams, but
different comparison.
But, no, I don't know. I think it's a little difficult. I will say it was interesting to see how they used Bowers. That was what I thought was interesting. They put him in like 5 different positions.
Yeah. I think he's going to be a super versatile weapon for this offense.
And I was going to say, I think they'll do as much as they can. Plus, I could be wrong, but Bowers is actually pretty solid at blocking, no?
Very underrated. I agree.
I would say, very, very solid, based off just the stuff I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this team is once again in that weird, like, Browns or maybe, like, Titans where it's like the ceiling's pretty decent.
But the ceiling is there, and I think that with 9-8 they'd hit it. So I'm excited to see if they do hit it.
I mean, I just think it's like it's not going to end out as well as they want it to.
Yeah,
I do hope. Honestly, that was another team that I was like, I really want to put them higher, but they have a rough schedule. They all have,
no doubt. The schedule is rough, but they have 4 already very winnable games in their division, and the Raiders seem every other year to give the Chiefs one really weird game. So that's already 4 to 5 wins. I feel like not that they're going to sweep the Chargers and Broncos, but that's like a range of like 3 to 5 wins in there.
I had them splitting. I think the Chargers and Broncos. I forget if they.
Fair.
I can't remember, but I was like they probably split. The Chiefs are probably going to sweep them because they're not going to let whatever happened last year happen again.
Yeah,
or they're going to try not to. But I think that is a team that I really felt bad for putting them low because I do like the Raiders as like a roster and a team. Yeah. I love the coach, but I just have to be mean here,
That's fair. It's okay. So with my crazy Raiders take, let's quickly run through our playoff standings for the AFC, where these records would shake out in terms of a bracket. With the 7th spot, the Jaguars sneak into the playoffs for me. At number 6, the Ravens. At 5, the New York Jets. And then the division winners, Cleveland is the 4 seed. Buffalo is the 3 seed. The Texans are the 2 seed. And the Chiefs, per usual, reign supreme at the 1 spot.
So, yeah, for me, unfortunately, big sad to the Colts because although they went 10-7, they still miss out.
Okay.
I think the Finns will somehow make it. The Dolphins, I don't know why, but they'll somehow make it.
Sure.
The Bills will also take up one of those wild card spots. And then the Bengals are the top of that wild card spot at 11-6. Let's see. Coming in last for the division titles, we have the Jets at 11-4. Then we got the Ravens coming in 3rd because they do play the Texans, and that was the one that I'm like, this is the make or break. And unfortunately, they broke there.
Good call.
We have the Texans going in that 2 spot, and then obviously, big shocker, the Chiefs are number 1.
Yeah, big shocks. Surprise face all around, but
no way.
That's crazy. Crazy.
Absolutely lost my mind.
Oh, wait. Breaking news on Talking Jack Sports.
Oh, no way.
Brandon Ayuk is staying. After all that. 4-year extension for Brandon Ayuk, which means nothing changed. Wow.
Did they beef up the contract?
The terms have not been released yet, but we will discuss it on the next episode of Talking Jack Sports. So we talk about the NFC predictions and give our award predictions. So hopefully we'll save a little bit more time at the end here for that, because we went on a lengthy rant about the AFC. But there's a lot to talk about. So with that being said, this has been episode 1 of season 4. Talking Jack Sports. We made it out to season 3 with this one. We're going to 100 episodes. Each season's been like 8 episodes. I feel bad.
Episodes.
They've been short episodes.
I will ruin my GPA for this.
Yeah. Oh, needless to say, we're back at school. New location McGee for both of us. So
I feel like the last part of season 3 was just me in a new location each time.
Yeah.
Which was always funny, but hey, who needs consistency when you don't need it?
Exactly. Who needs it when you have Talking Jack Sports?
Exactly.
So, with that being said, make sure to check us out on all available platforms, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, or even you're watching our beautiful mugs on YouTube. Appreciate that. Check out the TikTok for more short form content. We're going to be getting back on there soon. The TikTok is where we're dropping our 32 starting quarterback rankings before the season starts. So check that out as soon as Ryan sends me his list. Please send me your list, Ryan. And with that being said, we appreciate you checking it out. Oh, hang on. 4 years, $120 million for Brandon Ayuk.
So how much is that a year? Does
that
make him the highest?
I don't think so.
You said 100 and what?
It's not. He's not.
30 something.
Hang on. I have the Schefter list. I have the tweet pulled up right now. He is 6th.
I'll say he's still getting 30 something though, right?
He got a bag.
Yeah.
A BA got a bag. So we'll talk about that on the next episode, and we're excited for you to check it out next week. So with that being said, this has been the Talking Jack Sports Podcast. I've been Jack. That has been Ryan.
Boom.
Take care. Thanks for listening.
Go Birds.